Yo, so if you guys saw last week's video, which I hope you did, because I could use the views, but went to a local car show and I started getting all nostalgic, man. I started thinking about the first car show I ever went to. Just so happens, we actually got pictures of it. So I'm going to show you guys, and then we're going to talk about it. So here's a Monday morning memory from Pugliese Speed Shop. Well, guys, we'll say hi, Stella. We'll take you over here to the. This one's not in my book. This is in my father's book because, it took place in the late 1900s. So that's where it's at. We go through some of the things we've seen before. Just let's see here, and that guy, huh? Yeah. And there we go, right to start. So, this was on Long Island, Nassau Coliseum. Obviously, we're outside. This was not in the show. That's my 77 Trans Am. But I labeled the ones I knew. 57 Chevy Bel Air. Apparently, when I was about 9 years old, I didn't realize I was a 55, but I did know that was my cousin Lana. And like 61, 62 Vet here. Another one here. There's it's hard to do. There it is. Let me try to do this. Oh, there you go. There you go. There's Anthony and Chippy. You can tell the time. Look at the socks, guys. Huh? Forget about it. Was that 69 Camaro? This is the time frame when your mom and dad. Well, I don't think my mom was there. No, it wasn't. She was not there. But my old man would do this all the time. Hey, Charlie. Hey, go stand in front of that car and take your picture. And there I am. Billy, go stand in front of that car. We're going to take your picture. I think the socks, then you know what year it is, But there's Anthony again. Got the sweatbands on. Is that like a 35, 36 Chevy? A shoebox Ford. This is obviously what my pops was interested in, 55, 56, 51, 52. And we got a couple more here. Got here. Gotta go. Is he missing a wheel in the front? He's doing work. All right. A couple Model A's. I guess we must have been going for the motor. But yeah, obviously, pretty big show. And there's another Model A in the background there. Let's go sit down and talk about it because I got the memories are flowing back. So, guys, picture it: Long Island, 1986, 85, 87, somewhere right around there. It's a Nassau Coliseum where the Islanders used to play. I think they played they went to Brooklyn for a while. We forgive them; they came back, but I don't remember how it all went down. You see, we were in our Sunday best because that's when jams came out. So we're all you'd buy it as a set with the shirt and the shorts together. So we're all except Billy. Billy wasn't the fashion victim the rest of us were. He was just wearing the regular 80s attire. But if I remember, it was probably my dad's idea because out of all the fathers there, my dad was more of a car guy, right? I believe, yeah, Chippy went. Big Chippy was there with little Chippy and Billy. And then me, Anthony, and my dad. Lana was there. I'm not sure if Uncle Buddy was there because sometimes Lana would just chill at her house because it was, that's how we grew up, guys. Your cousins were just at your house or you were at their house, and that's just how it goes. But so I remember, fun fact, me, Anthony, and my dad climbed into Le Mans. Show that guy right here, and we drove over there. Stella's over here doing laps, in case you wonder what the clicking noise is. And then Big Chippy, Little Chippy, and Billy jumped in this guy right here, the Cutlass, which we have down the shop right now that we're working on. And I think we're almost there as far as getting running, but we'll talk about that, on a regular Friday video. So Went down there. Obviously, they were just normal cars back then, guys. Now, if you see a G body or an A body, you're like, "Whoa, that's awesome!" But now, back then, it was everybody had them, so it was just dime a dozen, and everything was like they are now, guys. It was kind of funny if you look at it. She will not stop doing laps. 55, 56, 57. Like, try 5 Chevys. There wasn't a whole bunch of Mustangs, I don't remember, but my dad was not a Ford guy. Now, if Uncle Pete was there, he would probably be a picture of every Mustang that was there. But, yeah. I'm going to go shut this door because she's going to drive me freaking nuts. All right, guys. She's relaxed now. She's laying down. We'll be all good. It's one of those things, that hardwood floors seemed like a good idea at the time, but you can't predict this kind of stuff, right? But, no, so where were we? We were at this car show, Mustangs, and then, there probably was some, but like I said, my father wasn't a big Ford guy, so if you actually look at this, I kind of was thinking out loud. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of thinking out loud. Looking at the pictures, you would think it was like an all Chevy show, right? Because that's what you're into. Same thing. You saw me in the video. I gravitated towards everything I liked, and clearly we did the same. But there was one picture that's been removed. When I put the book together, I thought I was being funny. My father had that 50 Plymouth that you guys saw pictures of in there. And we were working on it, and it ran and drove. It didn't have brakes. And this is back when you couldn't, you couldn't just on old eBay or something like that and buy what you needed. There was one store, like Mars Automotive, I think it was called, Mars Auto, or whatever. And it was on Long Island, and we would go there to get stuff for that Plymouth. And he couldn't get something for that thing, wheel cylinders or something. And it was Mopar, right? But what I'm getting at is there was one at that show. It was painted like haze gray, and it was all done. It was a nice looking car, just a nice clean example, and nothing hopped up. I think it had a flathead in it, right? So when I put the book together and I had it all going, and the Plymouth's kind of in order. Well, we never finished it. Is what happened. We moved out of Long Island. And I think my dad gave the guy that bought the house $50 to get rid of it, really. But I had that picture, that one that was at the show, and I put it there, and I labeled it 50 Plymouth finished. And I don't think my dad thought that was as funny as I thought it was. I actually blamed my brother first because he had the book for a little while, and I was like, "Hey, did you take this picture?" He's like, "No." He thought the joke was. I put a little tab that says 50 Plymouth finished, and there's nothing there. So he thought, which is actually probably a better joke, if I'm being honest, But I did have that picture there, and I think my dad didn't appreciate it. I think he removed it, and I don't know where the picture went, right? But so I know it wasn't an all Chevy show, is what I'm saying, because we saw that Mopar, and there was some Model A's and stuff there too, right? So, but even though they probably had Chevy motors in them. But it's kind of cool, you think about it, that, we all went there, and here we all still talk and everything, right? It's awesome that that we kind of bonded over this stuff, because, like, I already know Chippy's going to see this video and he's going to text me like, "Bro, I remember that, dude. Look at the stuff me and Anthony are wearing, And it's just cool how this just brings you together, right? And then here we drove our regular cars, the Le Mans and the Cutlass, and Chippy still got the Cutlass. And I have a tribute Le Mans, if you will. So it's just that's what this hobby, this culture, that's what it does, right? It's more than just transportation. Yeah, that's how they were intended. But there's a thing, they say the Model A was a new car for 1 year. And then it was a used car for 10 to 15 years after that. But it'll be a classic for the rest of eternity. That'll never stop, right? So here it was a brand new, it was a new car, a couple of years. Oh yeah, I got a new car. Okay, sure. And now look at it, right? It's just wild. And I think that same thing I was watching, the guy would say he had a Model A, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't own this car. I'm just a caretaker for it. This car was here before me, it'll be here after me, and I'm just taking care of it." So that all like translates into this whole culture that just keeps people together. Even like, I mean, you don't have to be a huge car guy. You just have to. I'm going to walk around this park for a while. Look at these cars. You don't have to be the guy that makes all these bad decisions with 15 cars and where does money go? It's down there, But it's just that's how it is, and it's kind of and it's very regional. I figured that out because guys, when I was in the military, I've been all over, and I'm in Maryland now. I lived in California for 14 years. I lived in from Long Island, lived in Pennsylvania for 5 years, lived down in North Carolina for like 5 years. So we've been all over, and no matter where you go, it's a little different. You can tell an East Coast car from West Coast car just the way it's the stance is or the style or whatever. For example, looking at those pictures, and I remember being at that show. There wasn't a whole lot of trucks, right? You go to a show down in North Carolina, it's mainly trucks, right? Even now. So my Uncle Pete lives on Long Island, and he's got that 65 Mustang you've seen, and he takes it to car shows all the time. And every time he goes, he sees a couple of trucks, and he always makes a point to tell me because he knows I'm a truck guy. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw this truck," and I know it's a big deal for him because that's like everybody being in the Navy, all the guys I meet out there from Texas and down south and all that stuff. Oh man, I inherited my grandfather's truck. Neither one of my grandfathers ever drove a pickup truck. I doubt they ever even rode in a pickup truck. My mom's dad, he was a New York City cop. He always had some kind of sedan, right? He had a Chevelle or a Malibu. He had a Buick. He had and then my father's father, he was a Pontiac guy. I remember him having more Pontiacs than anything. He had some Chevys. He's more of a GM guy altogether, and neither one of them worked on their stuff. That wasn't their thing. That wasn't their hobby. They just had these cars because they liked that style, and that's what they drove. And somebody else would fix it, And having known both of them, that's probably a good thing that somebody else. No, I'm joking, kind of, but yeah, they never. My old man, he never had a pickup. He had for work, but even then, usually he'd have a van when he was like an electrician and stuff like that because it's New York in the '80s, guys. You got to lock your stuff up. He didn't have no windows in it, none of that stuff. And no, it didn't say free candy on the side, not like that. That's what you had. And some guys have pickup trucks, but depending on what you did, like for a little while, my dad had businesses that he needed a pickup, and then when he didn't need it, he got rid of it and got back in a car because that's what he was more comfortable driving. And it's just and nowadays it's different. I get that because trucks aren't what they used to be. Let's watch the whole thing on it upstairs. Actually, me and Megan about the crazy prices and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it was different back then. You weren't putting your family in a pickup truck on Long Island and going anywhere. It just wasn't happening. But I'm sure the guys down in Texas and Tennessee and wherever I'm sure they did. I've heard stories, so I know. But yeah, it's just we talked about before, like what got you started. I told you when my father took me to my cousin's shop and I saw his Model A and I saw the stuff he's working on. I was like, wow, this is it's just awesome. Well, this is a couple years later, this car show, and I'm like, wow, this is like. This is what Sal does, right? He'll go here, go there, and stuff like that. And I showed you guys pictures when shows he went to, similar stuff, Long Island in the '80s. Well, actually, he was in Brooklyn, but yeah, it's just at the end of it, it's all the same as far as it's bringing people together. You're making memories. Like I said in the video, get off the couch, put down the video game controller, and go check it out, man. It's just. You're not making memories sitting on the couch. But here, I remember that. Yeah, the pictures are great because it jogs my memory. But it was awesome, and I remember bringing Andrew to car shows when he was a kid, and we still from time to time we'll stop by, we'll go to one or whatever. It's when he's not sleeping. But yeah, it's good. Sit back, think about that stuff. It's different. We used to take pictures, and that was a big deal getting developed. All that now. We take a million pictures, but I think we don't think about it. So don't delete them. Hold on to them because one day, your kid might be like, hey, my father took me to this car show, and here's all the pictures, and it could be pretty cool. So hopefully, I don't know if you guys remember your first car show. You want to throw a comment in there and tell us a little bit about it. That'd be pretty sweet. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.